Go ahead and start recording it so those who weren't able to join us today will have access to it.
We'll give everybody about one more minute before we get started.
Love seeing all these names on this call. We have about a, a little under a third of our attendees are first time attendees. So lots of new people coming this year I love having first year attendees. So that's great to see.
It's really exciting to see some names I recognize but haven't seen at conference before. I think it's gonna be a great vibe
Totally.
in Louisville here in a couple of days. All right, we'll get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Good morning. Good afternoon. My name is Jay Holder. I'm the Executive Director of Running USA, and this is our webinar for first-time attendees of the Running USA Industry Conference presented by Haku. Thank you all so much for agreeing to join us next week in Louisville, Kentucky. It's going to be a fantastic event. Whether it's your first time or your 15th time, this event is welcoming, open, inclusive to everyone in the running industry. You're going to feel like you've been there a million times, even if you're there for the first time on February 2nd. But there are some things that are good to know before you come in: how to use the app, what to look for, what you can expect. And we have two hosts today who are very experienced in that area. Michael Clemens, Running USA's Director of Operations, is also in charge of conference. And Jackie Levi from Haku, the presenting sponsor of conference, are going to tell you how to prepare and make the most out of this year's presentation. Michael and Jackie, I'll kick it to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jay. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Like Jay said, my name is Michael Clemens. For those of you who haven't met, I am the Director of Operations for Running USA, and I am so excited to be with you all today and then to welcome you all to my city next weekend. I am born and raised in Louisville, but I'll start with the caveat that I was not the reason it came to Louisville. It was already decided before I came into the role at Running USA. But I am very excited that it's going to be here and I'm going to get to show off my city. And hopefully we got it all the snow and ice out of the way last week. We had about 10 inches of snow and ice here. But the weather's looking good for us, and I'm really excited to welcome you all to Louisville. So I'll let Jackie introduce herself. And Jackie, if you want to start out with telling us about when your first Running USA conference was.
Yeah, hi everyone. It's so nice to be here with you today and talk about Running USA. We're super thrilled to be the presenting sponsor for the second year. Like Jay said earlier, I'm one of our co-founders and our chief strategy officer at Haku. And this is my, I don't even know. It's been so many years. I believe my first Running USA was 2017, which happened to be in Orlando at Disney, like we were last year. So that was my first one. So I think that's about what, 7 years ago. So I've been at many Running USAs now and excited for 2025.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that people can see from Haku at the conference?
Yeah, you'll definitely see a big group of us. So there's about 16, 17 of us that are going to be there representing strong and just really wanting to be there for support of Running USA. And especially Michael and Jay, they've done so much over the last couple of years to really bring Running USA forward and breathe new life into it and make it it's always been a great event, but even better for all Running USA members and all industry professionals, whether you're a member or not. I recommend that you become a member if you're not one, because I know Michael and Jay are hard at work on some wonderful new value adds for Running USA members that I know everyone will want to take advantage of. So yeah, we're just really excited to be there. You'll see a big team of us. And hopefully you'll also get a chance to sit in on some of the sessions we'll be in. So I will be leading our innovation showcase, as well as a session on rewards programs. So if you're interested in learning more about that, we'll share a lot of information that will help you walk away with how to build powerful rewards and engagement programs, whether you use the Haku platform or not. So it'll be a session for everybody, and hope to see everyone there and learning a lot.
Yeah, so we'll go through the schedule here in a little bit. Everyone should have received a link to an invite to our conference app. We'll go through the app and go through the schedule. Uh, like Jackie, I've been to many Running USA conferences over the years. My first one was actually in 2014 in San Diego. And I remember going into that super nervous and super anxious because I was new to the industry. I didn't know many people that were going. I knew maybe two people, kind of, that were going. And I was like, uh-oh, what did I just get myself into? And here we are, what, 11 years later? And I call conference to me as like summer camp. I get to go to summer camp and I get to see my camp friends and I get to hang out with people who I may only get to see once a year, or maybe I see them 3 or 4 times a year at different races. But it really is just a great time to get to meet people, to get to know people. And we want to use this time of over the next hour to really set you up for success and to make sure that you are prepared going into the conference and answer any questions you may have. So feel free to throw any questions you have in the chat as we go through it. And as we're talking through things, we'll keep an eye on that chat, answering questions as we go, and then at the end as well. So to start us off, Jackie, when we talk about the conference, before conference is kind of the packing and the preparation for it. What kind of tips would you give people of things to pack or things to do in the next week before they get to Louisville?
Yeah, well, if you're like me and you're from a city that is warm all the time, I'm in Miami, I would definitely be prepared to pack some warm clothes. It's going to be on the colder side for those of us. For anyone who's used to cold weather, you'll be at home. But for us, that live in perpetual summer, definitely bring jackets and sweaters. I've made the mistake of forgetting that not all places are hot all the time and showing up to conference and not being prepared for the weather. So definitely
Even
something.
indoors, I feel like a lot of conference centers, hotels like we're in, the temperature is just hard to plan for. So yeah,
Yeah, I would also recommend that, if there's people that you're interested in meeting, take the time to reach out to them in advance. Conference can get really crazy, and busy, and you get pulled in different directions that you weren't planning on. So if there's people that you're really specifically hoping to connect with, like shoot them an email beforehand or a LinkedIn message. And try to set up that time to connect in advance because it can get really very easily overwhelmed and pulled in different directions that you weren't maybe planning on. So
it definitely can. And we have in the app for the conference, there is a list of all attendees. So you can message them in the app. Like Jackie said, if you can find their email, you can message them there or through LinkedIn, just all kinds of different ways. It's a good point. We pack a lot into these 3 days, and it can be a little tiring to try to go to it all. So if you go into it knowing I want to make sure I speak to these people, that's huge. When we talk about dress too, what would you say, like, what do you normally see of people wearing at the conference?
yeah, I mean, I used to work in the healthcare technology space, and so conferences there were very buttoned up, very slacks and dress shirts and ties and jackets. And this is not that. This is a much more casual space. So you'll see people wearing jeans or running clothes is obviously very popular. Um, People love to wear their favorite race shirts and jackets, and so, you know, I I think whatever makes you the most comfortable, feel free to come in that. But it is definitely more casual if you're coming from maybe a more professional services type background that, most people are not going to be in suits and ties.
There will probably be some in there. And that's one of the great things is it's all over the board and it's really just whatever makes you comfortable. I love that. I'm not I'm not a dress up person all the time. So like yeah, if some conferences it's super buttoned up. We're very much I remember when we were in Puerto Rico a few years ago, it was like people were wearing their swim trunks. And I'm like, okay, this is perfect. This is my kind of vibes that we're going with here. So you talked about your breakout session and your innovation showcase. What other things are you most looking forward to about the conference?
I always just really look the most forward to the opportunity to connect with everybody, whether it's, people we already know or new faces. That's what I love the most is just those kind of spontaneous conversations or the opportunity to connect and be in person. I know in the events business, your focus is always on your event. It never stops. It's year round. So it's really a unique time to be able to kind of not worry about that. Be really focused on conference and the conversations you're having there, and have some really good conversations and meetings with people. We spend a lot of this time with our current customers and being able to talk about new ideas. They'll go to sessions, learn something, and then come to us and say, talk us through how to do this with you. Like, how can we implement this? How do we move forward? Because we just got this idea and we love it. So I think that's really unique, is that unique combination of being able to learn something, but then have the right team already there, your partners, your vendors, your colleagues, to kind of make a plan already to move forward. So it's not just learning something and then maybe you'll implement it 6 months down the road, but being able to put in solid plans in place from those learnings while you're at conference. So those are some of the things that just really bring me a lot of joy in the conference itself.
Yeah, it's the learning piece is so big, and we've been very intentional as a team at Running USA to make sure that we're providing a wide range of sessions. So we'll have breakout sessions. We have, I think, 24 or 25 of those throughout the course of the 3 days in a range of different topics. So we organize them by educational track. So there'll be different educational tracks that you can kind of go to, but that doesn't mean you have to stick to one. If you're like, well, I only work in operations, I have to go to all the operations tracks. No, you can go to whatever and really learn from people who may have been doing this for decades and have a lot of great advice to provide and a lot of support to give you. So yeah, definitely go to those. And then we'll have general sessions in the main room along with our keynote speaker, where you'll be able to learn from a lot of industry leaders there as well. So yeah, just really taking in all of those educational programming opportunities is huge. Also, um, I would be remiss if we didn't do a pre-conference session and I didn't tell you all how to properly pronounce Louisville. So a lot of people will say Louisville, and I like to tell people it's like you have marbles in your mouth and you say Louisville. So you'll see that that's just a nice little tip for if you're coming here. Um, Anything else that you think you'd like to share, Jackie, about helping people be successful when they get to conference?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely come up with a conference kind of like plan. It doesn't have to be anything formal, but a conference plan going into conference itself. There's a lot of content sessions. It's hard to kind of choose on the fly what you want to do, but to make the most out of your time there is, what do you want to get out of it? Like, what are your goals? And what can you do at conference to make sure you reach those goals, right? So if you want to learn more about marketing communications, make that content plan in advance, see what sessions are happening, and put those on your calendar. If you want to meet as many people as possible, make sure that you know where the best place to be is during the networking sessions, right? Is it in Expo? Is it in, the session rooms themselves? Like, where are you going to get that best opportunity? And so that was a huge learning for me my first year. I remember also being incredibly nervous my first year, but also kind of went into it with no plan. And during the conference, I was just a little like, oh my God, there's so much, there's so many people, there's so many content sessions, and I don't know what fits me best. And so every year since that, I've really just kind of gone into it with a plan in mind in advance of where I wanted to be and what I wanted to learn. And that's been really helpful.
Good. And that will help us kind of transition into, I want to share my screen and talk through the app. So with the app, you can do a lot of that planning and it will really help you to make sure that you know what to do. So I'm going to share my screen with everybody and show everybody. We're going to view it in full screen so that you can see that there and show you a little preview. This is on the back end, but it'll allow us to see the preview of what the app is doing. Jackie, can you see that? Can you give me a thumbs up if you're
We're good.
perfect? Perfect. So it is available in both iOS and Android. So when you go into your app store, if you didn't get that invite yet, just search for Running USA 2025 and it will bring you to this screen and you'll enter your information just like if you were just like you did when you registered. Use your registration email and oh, it will log you in. And it will ask you for a code. It'll email that to you. It will also text that to you. So it already texted me that code. Success. There we go. So this is what the app is going to look like for you. Thanks to MyLapse for sponsoring this app as well. They really help us to keep this going for you all. And thanks to Leon, our team, for making sure it looks great for you. So we had a question in the chat asking, how do I find people at conference that are similar to me? So if you go to this attendees tab at the top, it will show you everybody who is signed up for conference on this, and it'll tell you what the company they're with and then their job title that they gave us when they logged in. So it's a really great way to go in here and be like, oh, I know I want to meet sponsors, so I can search for a term and it'll show me all those people that may be in marketing at a job, or same for operations or sponsorship. Also, I recommend going in there and putting a picture in. It's something you have to do in the app. So you'll see some people have done it, some people still haven't yet, but it gives you a way of seeing what people look like before you go up to them. Everyone will also have name badges on. You'll need to make sure you have that at all times so that people can see that, but then so we know that you're with our conference. Something else in here is looking at the schedule. This is when we talk about planning out your conference. This is where you can really go and do that because you can add stuff to specifically your schedule. You can click, oh, I know I want to go to the expo on Sunday. I can add that and then it'll show up in my schedule starting whenever I want to do it and will really let me lay out my time at the conference. So Sunday, we start at 10 a.m. with registration and check-in in the expo hall. So you'll come into the Galt House. This hotel is huge. There's actually two towers of the hotel. So some people will be in the West Tower, some in the East Tower for your hotel rooms, but all of our programming will take place in the East Tower. So in that tower, and it'll all take place on the same floor outside of a few sessions, which I'll bring up here in a little bit. But all of the expo is going to be in the furthest from the hotel rooms, the grand ballroom B and C. Inside that expo, we'll have about 30 vendors on hand, including Haku and some of our amazing partners, to show you their products that you can chat with throughout the conference. And our check-in table will be at the back of that expo area. So you can go in there, get your credentials that first day before we really start the programming at 11:30 with our innovation and partner showcase. So this is the time where groups will be given a 30-minute window to really talk about their innovation and their technology products for you and go through each of those. And that's in one of the rooms on that second floor, which if you go to the three dots at the bottom, you can see under floor plans exactly where everything is in the venue. And it'll show you, we want to make it as easy as possible. There'll also be stickers on the ground with footprints leading you to that expo, but then rooms along the way that you can see as well. After that innovation showcase, something else that I highly recommend, especially as first timers, is from 3 to 4 p.m. We brought back our speed networking. So this is a chance for you to have 60 seconds to 90 seconds meeting a bunch of different people over the course of an hour. So we'll spread people out this Combs Chandler's room, and you'll rotate seats to talk with people. It will be loud in there just because it's hard when you bring that many people talking in one room. But I remember my very first Running USA, we did speed networking. And one of the very first people I met was Ted Metellus, the race director of the New York City Marathon. And he was like, "You're new here. Let me show you. Let me introduce you to people. Let me take you under my wing." And I'll always be grateful for that for meeting Ted at that very first speed networking session, and now getting to call him a colleague and a friend is huge. So definitely take advantage of that speed networking time. And we'll go directly from that. If you're in speed networking, we'll invite people to walk over together. We have a really cool spot for our opening reception in the Muhammad Ali Center, which is right next to the Galt House Hotel. You will have to walk outside briefly to get there, or you can even walk through the parking garages. And this is such a cool space that we'll have all to us. So you can go through, I think it's 3 or 4 stories of exhibits for the Muhammad Ali Center. And then we'll have our opening reception with light bites and with drinks available at their rooftop. They have a rooftop area overlooking the Ohio River. So let's see, of course it logged me out. Let's get back in here and I'll show you a little bit more. So Monday, we're going to start Monday morning with our morning run. So that will take place just outside the hotel. If you walk outside the hotel and go down towards the river, we're going to start right next to the Ohio River, next to the Belle of Louisville, which is um, a boat that we use for different events in the city. It obviously won't be in use in the winter time, but we'll start and finish our run from there. And thanks to Brooksy and their Laurel timing product, we'll have time the timed morning run. Haku will also be making sure everybody gets checked in with that morning run. Let me get to where that is. With that morning run, you do need to pre-register. So we'll be on a lookout for an email from our team in the next couple of days with a link to go to the Haku registration site. And then once you register at the expo on Sunday, you'll be able to pick up your bib from the Brooksy booth at the expo. If you're not able to do that on Sunday, don't worry. You'll be able to do that in the lobby on Monday morning. And that will take place pretty early. It starts at 6:30 a.m. down by the river. Make sure you wake up early. Make sure you dress warm because it is along the river and it will be cold. We'll be going through Waterfront Park, which is well lit, but I would also recommend bringing, if you have a headlamp or some kind of lighting device, just for a little extra safety. It will be marked as well. And then once you finish, Leslie Jordan will have medals and we'll have t-shirts there for you that will commemorate that morning run. We'll then go into breakfast, and then we begin a full day of programming starting at 8:15 with a welcome from our president and executive director, from Jay Holder and Kathleen Titus, our board president, and then straight into sessions. A lot of sessions throughout the day. We'll have a lunch in the middle of the day where it's just open seating. You'll be able to meet people at that lunchtime. Something else new we are doing this year on Monday from 1:30 to 2:45 are roundtable sessions. So you'll see in these roundtable sessions that there's 8 different sessions to choose from. And those will be taking place in 8 different rooms on the second, and then 3 of them on the third floor of the Galt House. We'll make sure that all those rooms are listed here in the app so you know where to go. But what we've heard in the past is that people just want time to talk to other people who are doing what they're doing. So these roundtable sessions will have a moderator and a scribe, but they're just a time for you to ask questions of other people in your line of work or other people in your area and really get to meet and learn from those people. We'll then do some more sessions in the afternoon, and finish off on Monday from 5 to 6 with a happy hour in our expo presented by Ticket Socket. We're going to have puppies on hand from the Kentucky Humane Society. They're bringing 5 puppies. We'll have, again, light bites and drinks at that happy hour for you. But we want to make sure that we leave the night open so that if you have dinners with any partners or anything like that, that's what Monday night is for, just kind of a free night for you after that. And then we start again on Tuesday morning with another morning run. You don't have to register for Tuesday morning, and you will receive another swag item from Leslie Jordan on Tuesday morning. We'll also be working with Tina Muir doing a plogging run. So if you're like, I don't really want to run, we'll have trash bags where you can do some jogging while picking up trash along the way and just really give back to the community while we're there. We'll then continue on Tuesday with more general sessions in our grand ballroom, as well as breakout sessions along the way. You can see the names and rooms for each of those breakout sessions. And then we will finish off our day at 4:30 p.m. So we'll do our closing reception in the conservatory, which is an area of the hotel in between the 2 towers of hotel rooms. It's sponsored by GoFundraise, that area. So that'll be how we conclude our conference, starting on Sunday, going full day on Monday, and then finishing up with a lot of great programming on Tuesday. And you can find out all of this in the app, all of these in the different pieces of the schedule. We also have in there a list of exhibitors so you can see who's going to be at our expo. We have them broken up by category. So if you're like, I really need to talk to somebody new about changing up our apparel, you can see who the apparel providers are, the signage, or the registration platforms. And then we'll also have a list of all of our sponsors. We're really thankful to all these people for making this conference happen. And then another thing that we'll do in this game dashboard is every booth at the expo will have a format that has a QR code. And if you go into that game dashboard, it'll bring you in. Once it's started, you'll be able to scan those QR codes at different areas for points. And then at the end of the conference, those with the most points will win some really cool prizes. So we're working on race entries, a bottle of bourbon for that. So a lot of different cool prizes that we'll have. This is a way for you to just engage with the vendors that are here and a lot of the different sessions that we have going on. If you're also wanting to see more about the speakers who are going to be presenting to us, all of them are listed here. We're very intentional in getting a wide variety of speakers from different backgrounds, different size races, different areas of the country and internationally as well, and have a really good group of people who are going to be leading these breakout sessions and the general sessions that you can find out more about in this conference app. Let's make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, another thing. So we just announced this yesterday, HR services. So we are fortunate to have brought Diana Parkman on our team, who is an HR professional based out of the Chicago area, who will be lending her services to members of Running USA. So if you're like, I need some help on the HR front, you can schedule some time in the app. It'll have a link to it to schedule some time with Diana to talk through HR questions you may have or anything like that. So that's another great thing. We'll also have some discussions that we'll throw in this discussion board where you can kind of meet people along with the conference through this event app. So there's a lot of really exciting features that'll be going on in this app. And along with planning beforehand, I would also encourage you to get to share contact info with people at the conference. I remember my very first one. I went up to Mike Nishi, who is the COO of the Bank of America Chicago Marathon, and told him, I want your job one day. And emailed him afterwards, and he said, well, how about you come up and work with us and do our race? And it progressed to where I now manage the finish line of the marathon for them. So really take time to meet those people, but then to follow up with them so that you can get to really engage with them even after the conference. Um, with that, if anybody wants to throw some questions in the chat, feel free to ask any questions. We're here to answer those for you. There are a few in the chat already. I know I talked about how to meet people within your industry. Definitely use that search feature in the app. Another question, if we're driving in, where do we park at the hotel? So there is parking at the hotel. It is in a downtown of a major metro, so you do have to pay to park there, but you can include that in your when you check in. That can be part of your room. They can bill it right to your room, so you can use your room key for that payment. And then their parking garages are directly underneath the hotel. So when you pull into the hotel, you can park underneath either tower. And then the lobby for the hotel is in the East Tower, which is where our main programming is going to be as well, in that East Tower.
Michael, I know you said that people will need to pre-register for the morning run. Is there anything else that anyone needs to pre-register for, like the speed networking or roundtables, anything like
Good
that?
question. Good question. I would recommend you putting it on your schedule if you plan to attend. It helps us just to know how many people to set up the room for different things, or helps us to tell the speakers, like, here's kind of how many to plan for. But the only thing that you really have to pre-register for is that morning run. And that's so we can Laurel wants to show off their new technology, which is a really cool product, and this will allow them to be able to time the race and to give you a bib, and you'll be able to pick that up, like I said, on Sunday in the expo or Monday morning. Just make sure you're not one of those people like we always see at all of our races that shows up right at 6:30 and is like, I need to get my stuff and register. Make sure you give yourself enough time. And those runs on the morning run are going to be a 5K. So 3.1 miles. It is in kind of an out and back. You'll run along the water in Waterfront Park and then come back on a different part of along the water. Um, so if you're like, I want to cut it short, feel free to do that. It's very it's very low stakes and just a really fun experience. You don't have to run. You can walk all times. All people are encouraged to participate in that morning event. What other questions might people have? If you do have the hotel room block is still for right now open. So if you want to come a day early, leave a day late, you can always add that onto your hotel stay. Louisville has a lot of really great stuff to do in the city. We'll have somebody from Louisville Tourism next to the check-in area we on Sunday, so they can answer any city questions for you. Somebody asked about transport to and from the airport. We don't have any transportation that we provide, but it is a very easy Uber. Louisville is a small city. I would say probably $10 to $15 Uber or Lyft ride, or there are taxis as well at the airport where you can get to the hotel. Somebody asked about dietary options for the meals. So there will be the meals will be buffet style. So you'll get to and there will be gluten-free items, there'll be vegetarian items. For our vegan attendees, all you'll have to do, and I'm going to send out an email to anyone who noted that they were vegan in the registration process. All you have to do is ask the staff at the meal for a vegan option, and those will be available upon request. So they may not be all out on the table, but we'll have those available for you. And then the buffet will allow you to kind of pick and choose what you want to eat. We'll also have plenty of coffee. I know that's always a big thing. Um, there's restaurants at the hotel as well. I would encourage you, if you're on those free nights, if you're looking for somewhere to eat, downtown has a lot of great places. There's an area called Whiskey Row, which is just a couple blocks on the other side of the KFC Yum Center, where our University of Louisville basketball teams play. That area on Whiskey Row has some cool downtown distilleries, has some great restaurants, some speakeasies, different places within walking distance of the hotel downtown. So there's definitely other stuff to do while you're here. Any other questions?
Michael, someone asked how far the runs are.
Yeah, so 5K is that going to be that distance? Like I said, if you want to drop it a little bit shorter, you can always cut it shorter and do any shorter distance or longer distance if you want to go more. The downtown waterfront park is connected to southern Indiana via what we call the Big Four Bridge. It's a pedestrian bridge. So I actually will do all of my long runs downtown and can easily get in 20 miles. So if you're like, I want to get in a longer run, you can do that from the hotel as well. I encourage you to run over into southern Indiana via that Big Four bridge, the pedestrian bridge, and there's a greenway right along the water in southern Indiana as well. Well, great. If anyone thinks of questions along the way, my email is just michael@runningusa.org. I may be a little bit slower to answer emails going Thursday, Friday, Saturday, starting of next week, but I'm so looking forward to this. We have about 600 people signed up for the conference. Like I said, about a third of you all will be first-time attendees. Another thing I failed to mention, at the check-in desk, we'll have these little stickers here, and I haven't got them printed yet, but it'll say first time attendee on these stickers where you'll be able to get one and put it on your name badge. And we do that just so you can really see who else is new and who else may be in the same boat as me. And for someone like me who's been coming for 11 years, I love to kind of find newbies that I can take under my wing and show them around. So that's just a good way to kind of note that. It will also say on there if somebody's a speaker, if somebody is on our board of directors, so you'll be able to see those on the name badges as well. So it's just a great feature that we have, and we've tried to think through a lot of the little touches, but if you have any questions along the way, feel free to reach out to us. Jay, I'll let you close us out.
Yeah, you've said it all, Michael, and Jackie. Thank you for everything, and thanks for letting our guests know what to expect. And to everybody who's on this call, I'm really excited to meet you all here in a couple of days. And yeah, we'll see you in Kentucky.
Sounds good. Thanks, everybody. Have a great one.